Okay, now a few people have been talking about the back portion of the synopsis for the mid-season finale, Gone Girl. Andi is forced to work with her worst nightmare. Now, in my original video, what was the title of it? The Karen's DNA test results will be revealed in the mid-season finale. That video is doing pretty well, so thanks for watching that. In the video, I said, I honestly don't know. I mean, maybe this has to do with Gary, but Hayden is not her worst nightmare. Gary is definitely that. Some people speculate Jasmine, but folks, Jasmine is not in this season. Trust me, I know. So, meanwhile, Andi is forced to work with her worst nightmare. This could be in relation to Gary, because we do know that in this week's episode, he's going to talk with Mrs. Willis in, regards to it's not a good idea to work with Andrea Barnes on your case. And, I believe the synopsis even goes so far as to say that Gary's, latest plan to ruin Andi backfires. So it's quite possible that, Mrs. Willis just, doesn't bother heeding Gary's warnings because she knows it's BS, or she decides, you know what, Andrea does seem like a great attorney, so I want to work with her, but also want to, keep you, I guess Gary to kind of look over her shoulder and make sure she's okay. So I don't know, maybe it's a combo. Well, then again, it makes no sense because Gary with the FBI thing, I don't know if it's a situation where maybe Mrs. Willis will let Gary watch her funds or something during the divorce while Andi is the one that works to make sure her husband doesn't take it. But once again, I say, with Gary's FBI investigation stuff, it makes no sense for Mrs. Willis to even trust anything he has to say. And kind of like how apparently her breakfast with Jordan was to check in on the person that, hey, I endorsed him with a good amount of money for his campaign. Now let me go speak to him face to face to see if him and this white girl allegation is real, because I want to make sure my money isn't being given to some creep, when I gave him to use it for his campaign, and now it might go up in smoke. So at the same time, Gary did say that Mrs. Willis was one of the first investors in his company. So perhaps, she's coming over to Gary to speak, because Gary is the one that invites her over. But maybe she's only going there to see, if he's still legit, or, to tell him off for getting some illegal stuff. I don't know. But it does kind of make sense when you look at it at the perspective of Mrs. Willis is the third portion of the triangle between Andi and Gary. And I kind of like this if this is the case, because it shows Andi that, if you want to make it to the top, then, you might have to deal with some things you're not comfortable with dealing with. But would she really be willing to make partner if it means having to align herself with Gary in some way, shape, or form, which could lead to the eventual plot of season 7 when these two have to go walk down the aisle together? I mean, maybe some things, but to be honest, look, I know Andi is self-centered and, selfish and stuff like that, but would she really go through all of this crap with Gary if it meant her getting partner? That doesn't really make a lot of sense, unless she knows that everything Brenton found on Gary is strong enough to eventually take him down once and for all, so she wouldn't need to get married to him. So Andi might be playing the long game here, which could be intriguing, but a little bit like, sheesh, okay, she's really having to act this out long enough for the 11th hour. Can you imagine if things get so bad that she has to wait until the I do's to finally bust Gary and be done with him? I don't know. That's probably what's going to happen, but we'll just have to wait and see. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next video.